Welcome back to Attunement Podcast number 17. Me and my friend Samek are going to talk about our weekly updates on our emotional and spiritual journeys. And our analysts have told us that we're not engaging enough. So I'm going to tell you, I quit my job this week. I told my crush I had a crush on them this week. And my sense of identity transformed and shifted this week. But you don't even get to hear about that because we're going to hear about Samek first. You have to wait. Um, and the experiment for this week, for this podcast, is speaking from enjoyment. So me and Samek are both going to speak from enjoyment. And with that, Samek, what did you learn on your spiritual and emotional journey this week?
Boom. I'm back to the being mad at God, but I'm not actually mad at God anymore. I'm just like grateful for God and reality. I had a view conversation with Harry yesterday, and this bit has been cycling for a bit, which is there is an immense amount of love out there if I let myself be seen and loved for who I am. And the aspect of that that's like coming back around is when I'm hurt and I say ouch and I assume that the other person cares about me, they will change their actions because they care about me and they hurt me. And it's so simple. And I like, there was this like realization that there's like multiple realizations. One of them was that, oh, I haven't been saying ouch. I haven't been admitting my pain for a long time. And then every time I do, I cry and like my heart breaks. I think one of the most intense cries I've ever had was a coaching session with Alexa Kistler, where I said ouch and I cried for 40 minutes straight. And it was fucking awesome. And now I'm just like, why am I not saying ouch every time I feel hurt? That's crazy. So I've been doing that more. But the other thing is, I get to change and other people change when the pain is acknowledged and seen. But the vulnerable bit is that, like, if there's pain in my system, I actually show it, like show the pain that I have. And when that happens, it impacts myself and it impacts the world. And the more that I'm allowed or letting myself be vulnerable, the more that the love can touch me. And then the other bit for that I've seen is the voice in my head is very similar to my parents, where it says really like condescendingly mean things, but like it's moving me towards what I want, but it's saying it with an assumption that I'm lazy or I'm broken.
Mm.
And whenever that it does that, I rebel against it, but in rebelling against it, I don't do what I want. So it's like, I want a mango. I want to eat a mango, or I want to get out of bed. And the voice in the head, before, like when the want like arises, before I can hear the wants clearly, the voice in the head goes, you should probably get out of bed because you're lazy and like you probably won't if you don't get out of bed. Then I go, fuck you, I don't want to get out of bed, and I stay in bed longer than I want to because I wanted to get out of bed before the voice even said I should get out of bed. So I'm rebelling against my own wants. And then I get confused, like, did I even want to get out of bed, or am I just like listening to the voice and being a bitch? So then there's like that like contrast. But I've been releasing a lot of anger recently. And the more anger I release, the more clarity I just have. It's like, oh, the voice in the head is saying that, but I also want to get out of bed. So like, shut the fuck up. I'm not getting out of bed for you. I'm just getting out of bed because I want to. And you're also saying this with the assumption that I'm lazy, and that hurts. Ouch.
Mm.
And in doing that, like not saying shut the fuck up, but like, ouch, that hurt. I do want to get out of bed. The voice kind of like, I'm assuming that the voice cares about me, which it does. So then I kind of feel heartbroken. Like the voice in the head makes me feel heartbroken, and then I actually cry sometimes, and then it changes, like slowly changes the voice in my head, which has been a really interesting experience. And then this has been like paralleled with my parents, which is like, hey, my parents like call me and then they say like two passive aggressive comments like in a row when they call me. They're like, oh, I'm so surprised you called. You know, I usually have to call because you're so lazy. or like some passive aggressive comment like that, and I'm like, what the fuck? But before I get to say what the fuck, they like move on to their request. It's like, hey, I want you to come over because we're gonna be out of town for a week and someone needs to take out the trash. And it's like if they've just asked me that, it's like I do want to do that for them because I care about my parents. But because they
Mm.
made the passive aggressive comment, now like I don't really want to do it. But it's like the thing is I still want to help them out. But now I'm like in a fight. Like I'm in a fight with my parents. So now I don't want to do anything for them. Even if I do want to take care of them in some way. Like so then it's like I do care about them, but like I feel so bad to care about them because I'm in a fight with them. And then every time that's like now that I've noticed this pattern, is like when they say the thing, I was like, ouch, dad, you're kind of being an asshole right now. And I would love to help you, like take out the trash when you're out of town. And that's, I feel like, is like another little step in terms of shaping the world in the way that I want it to be and for it to be more loving. And I feel like that this pattern is like in me, around me, and all over me in every interaction. So I'm like having starting to see this pattern. It's everywhere, and that's
Mm.
been like really surprising and also pretty cool.
Where's like the most unexpected place you've seen it?
In every interaction where I'm trying to save the other person.
Give me an example.
Like if I'm doing view with you, like example yesterday, it's like I was trying to save you a little bit and I was hurting myself and like you probably weren't like getting as much out of it. But I'm noticing it is in like every conversation where I'm trying to save the other person, there is like this pattern is going on where I'm not acknowledging my hurt. And in that I'm not showing up authentically. And in that they're not getting the connection they want. And like no one's getting love and it's all fucked. So it's like if I'm trying to save someone, I feel like the pattern like is already there, and it's been more clarity on all the ways I try to save myself, and all the ways that hurts, and then all the ways I try to save other people, and all the ways that hurt as well.
Mm. I like that. I so me and Samek had a view conversation yesterday, and when Samek was asking me questions, basically the whole time I was like, "Fuck you, you're just trying to save me." And then sometimes he would ask me like a good question, but I was so mad that even when he asked me a real question, I would still be like, "Fuck you, you're trying to save me." And it was basically that for 20 minutes. And so that was me on like the needling side, or like the you hurt me, but I'm not gonna show it, so fuck you. Um, and yeah, I didn't even consider being like ouch like that whole time. Like I was just like fuck you over and over and over again. But not I wasn't like actually screaming at him. Like I think Samek would agree. We both like understood that like I was playing out a pattern. So I was like, fuck you. But I wasn't like screaming at him for real. And I've been on the other side of that, which is like 2 weeks ago, I was here at Earth Dance. I was switching rooms and I was switching to my friend's room. So I was lying on my friend's bed because like she was leaving it. And I didn't know this, but that like felt super violating to her. Like it really felt like I was violating her space by lying on her like empty bed that she usually sleeps in. And so she walked in and she's like tired and dysregulated. And she's like, "Are you seriously lying on my bed right now?" Which is, again, instead of saying like, "Ouch." Because if she was like, "Oh," she's like, "Oh, can you please get off my bed? That hurts so much." I'd be like, "Yeah." She was like, "You're on my bed? Fuck you." It was like the energy. Um, and the way I think about this is like, you can step on someone's toe and they can be like, "Ow," and then you move, unless you're insane. And you can step on someone's toe and they're like, "Are you seriously on my foot right now?" And you're like, "Yeah, I fucking am. What are you gonna fucking do about it? Do you have a request?" And they go, "No, I just can't believe you're on my foot." And you're like, "All right, I'm gonna stay on your foot." Um,
That's a
like,
great
right?
example. Yeah.
And so right, she's like, "I cannot believe you're on my bed right now." And I literally, and because most people I would just get off, but because we're also friends and I trust her, I was just like, nah. And I was like, what did I say? I said something like, yes, I'm on your bed. Do you have a request? Um, and she, and that like really, I mean, I would say that forced her to feel her pain, and she like left the room for like 7 minutes, and I just kept lying on her bed, and then she came back, and she literally was crying, and she literally was like, I'm like so tired and so dysregulated, and it feels so violating for you to be on my bed, and like I don't know what to do. And I was like, I would be happy to get off your bed. She was like, thank you. And later we like broke it all down and talked about it. And she literally was like, the way you interacted with me forced me to feel my pain and be vulnerable with my pain. And I was like, wow, I was insecure about how I treated you. Like I wasn't sure if that was right, but there was no feedback you could give me that would make me more confident that I showed up the way I wanted to show up there. Um, yeah.
Bang. That was good. Great reflection.
Um, but yeah, what comes up for you when I say that? Because,
I feel
we're
like there's
both
like,
learning about this pattern.
yeah, like this pattern is new to me, but it also applies to like being on the other side of that view conversation where Harry's needling me, where I'm trying to save him. Like I could have just been,
I want to push back on needling because needling implies passive aggression. And I guess maybe I was being passive aggressive, but I was also literally saying fuck you. So, but I actually, no, I do think it's passive aggressive. So I actually agree with you. All right, please continue.
um, yeah, but like there was like at the beginning of that, it was like an ouch, and I just ignored it. And the moment I
Yeah.
ignored it, I was like, okay, this is fucked. We're in this pattern now because I'm trying to like if I'm ignoring my ouch, I'm basically caretaking you in some way or some fashion, and in that, like I can't ask a good question at all. So, and then I also don't want to do the view conversation, so I can't even be in view. So it's like all of it's fucked. And then like, but like the moment like if I said ouch, it just like it would have been. I feel like it would have been over. And then another
Mm,
thing is like over text. Like I realized like saying ouch over text works for me really well. I don't know if it works
mm,
for you really well, but it didn't work. It really didn't work for me. Like I didn't like ouch didn't really wasn't something I understood until you asked that question, which was what would you say if you assumed the other person cared about you?
mm.
Because it's like there's like an underlying assumption, especially if you have an insecure attachment style, which is people don't care about me, everyone hates me, blah blah blah. Well, the thing is, like everyone does care. Like no one wants to hurt. Like no one wants to go around just like stepping on people's foot, unless you're like a psychopath. And then even then, you're probably miserable as fuck, and you probably don't want to be around that person. So everyone cares about you. Like assuming everyone cares about you, what would you say if someone hurt you?
Yeah,
Just saying ouch. It's like, oh
yeah,
shit, you did something that hurt me and you care about me. And I'm assuming you care about me. If I say ouch, you will naturally change your behavior to do something where you take into consideration the fact that what you did hurt me. And the thing is, I'm not even blaming you. I'm just like stating ouch. And there's no blame necessary if I assume that the other person cares about me.
yeah. And for me, the analogy is the same way your body tells you something hurts, which is like you stub your toe and your toe is like, ouch. And your toe isn't like, fuck you, you dumb piece of shit. Your toe is like, ouch. And then you're like, oh, that hurts, and I don't want to hurt myself. I'm gonna try to not stub my toe in the future. But like I'm not gonna devote my whole life to never stubbing my toe ever again. Like it might happen again, and it's okay if it happens again. But I definitely don't want it to happen again. And also feeling the pain is making me attune to my system in a way such that it's less likely to happen in the future. And it's just the same thing with two people or a group of people. Like if you allow others to feel your pain, people will naturally attune to your pain and naturally intend to hurt you less. That doesn't mean never again. And yeah, I like the physical body example because blame is so obviously unnecessary. Like, who's to blame for me stubbing my toe? Dude, what are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. I feel like it's like the baseline, like the fundamental thing is like, yeah, blame doesn't make sense, and it just like every layer higher it gets like more complicated, but it's still the same
Mm,
thing. Just like, oh yeah, just state the expression, the vulnerable thing, the pain, just like let it be expressed very clearly and very vulnerably, and the world will, not the world, but it's like things will just take care of itself. Like the system wants to reduce hurt and the pain.
yeah, it's not mostly not fun to hurt people.
It's not.
Um, Another thing that comes up on the assuming people care about you. I have a friend here, and often when she asks me to do things, she like begs me. She energetically begs me. So she's like, "Harry, you're so tall. Can you reach up and get this thing for me, please? It's just right there." And I'm like, dude, like I want to help you. Like you don't need to convince me. Like you don't need to like be nice to me or convince me or like make it sound easy. Like I'm happy to help you, and it honestly does hurt when you beg me because it feels like you're assuming I don't want to help you, um, that I need to be convinced to help you.
Man, this goes back to like every like person who's ever been super people pleasy at me. It's like, ouch. It's like you're assuming that I don't care about you. That's like all you're saying to me right now in the way that you're talking to me. Especially like the people who like apologize insistently. And every time they do it, it's just like, ouch. Ouch. You're assuming that I want to hurt you over and over again. That hurts me.
Yeah. And I have one more thing on this, which is I had a view conversation with our friend Nick, and it was about how, like, I was noticing that I needle you. Basically, when you are acting in a way I don't like, I make fun of you for it, which does not make it less likely to happen. So it's like, let's say you are judging me, and I'm like, fuck you, you're judging me. Like, it doesn't make you less likely to judge me. And I'm like actually in particular setting up a trap where if you do the thing that I want you to do and that I think you want to do, like usually these are things that I think are better for both of us. Like I think you would have a better time and I would have a better time if you stop judging me. But then I set up a system where I'm going to say, if you stop judging me, actually you lose. I controlled you into stop judging me, pussy. And so that's really ineffective. And I was like, but I can do that with anything. Like, I can do that with anything. And then the one thing I've found that I can't do that with, like, Samek, like, listen to yourself. Like, be open hearted. Stop judging me. Stop having any feelings of superiority. Stop thinking you're right. Like, the only wholesome thing I feel like I can't do it with is, like, feel how uncomfortable it is for me to treat you this way. Uh, which you could say like attuned to how painful it is for me to treat you this way. And that's like the only thing I've found that like breaks the pattern in me. It's like, oh, that makes no sense. And I'm like, instead of giving you a should, I'm like actually giving you the way out. Everything else, I'm like, this is the way out, this is the way out, this is the way out. But it's all fake, but that one's like actually the way out. So when I say it, like the fight in me actually just dissolves and I'm like, oh wait, this makes no sense.
Yeah. I remember you doing this to me and I got really confused because I'm like, damn, Harry's like bullying me, saving me, and playing victim at the same time. And like, I don't know what to do. And then I was like, I just like basically quoted you. And then I said, I feel hurt and not seen when you put me in a position where the only thing I could do is defend myself. Like when you say those things, I'm just like, oh, you want me to like, I don't even know. You want me to be myself right now, and you're attacking me into being myself. And then the only thing I could do, like the only reply I would have is like defend that I'm being myself. and that makes
Yeah,
no
yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So then I'm just like, what are you like? Are you bullying me into being myself? But that doesn't make sense. So you're just hurt. So you're just like being
Yeah,
hurtful for no reason.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I like how you said that one because thinking about our most recent view conversation when we were doing this, I was like, oh, Samek. To me, it seemed that, right? Because I set up a system where you admitting that you're doing any of the things I'm accusing you of is you losing. You said defending that you already are being yourself. Um, yeah, so that is also what it feels like to me. And I'm like, stop fucking defending that you're already being yourself. You're not.
What the
And
fuck?
you're like,
Ouch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It was like this is like such an interesting fight because it makes no sense if you like
yeah.
look at it intellectually at all.
Yeah, I am a little bit confused. I'm like, what even is this? But I think, there's definitely some shame hot potato in it. It's like, who's to blame? It's like we're both having a bad time, and I'm like, it's your fault. And you're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yes, it is. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, it's not. I'm like, so yeah, it's kind of like that. And I feel like there's also, I lost the second part, but definitely some shame hot potato in it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go back to you now.
Sweet.
You left camp.
Ah,
He's gone, and he also confessed or said his feelings or attraction to a girl wholesomely, which is awesome.
bang.
What have you been learning, Harry? What have you been learning?
To stand before you all here today is an honor. I didn't think I would make it. But I say that to be like, last week was so fucking hard, and I'm in a good state, right? I'm in a quite a positive, feeling good state right now. And I'm almost sad or have some grief that like I'm not on the podcast still going through it because I was fucking going through it. Like that was easily the worst week of my life or the hardest week of my life in the last 6 months. And I'm surprised, as I am many weeks of this podcast, because midweek it is like, wow, what the hell am I going to about on the podcast because I'm falling apart. And then I get to the podcast, I'm like, wow, that week absolutely rocked. I learned so much. That's actually crazy how much I learned. And I have so many like lessons and like gifts to talk about and share. So, another one of those weeks, which seems to happen every week, um, which really shocked me this week and will probably shock me next week. But I do kind of want to tell the camp story, which is okay. Well, I'm not going to give too context. Context. I was planning to work at the summer camp for 2 months. I was really excited about it. It's like restorative justice summer camp. It's really cool in so many ways. It's some of like the best activism I've seen. Like I'm not a fan of like most activism. Uh, it smells wrong to me most of the time. And this shit, I'm like, you guys are doing this pretty well. Like I'm pretty impressed. Basically, got to summer camp staff orientation for a week. And I'm like, whoa, people are way younger than me. I forgot, or I haven't interacted with a lot of like 18, 19, 20-year olds since I've been 25. And it's like, oh shit, you guys are way younger than me. And also to these people, like a lot of them, it's like just their summer camp. And to me, it's like restorative justice, conflict resolution, emotional fluidity, authentic connection, being your authentic self. And to a lot of people there, it's just summer camp. And then I honestly think the biggest thing for me that led me to want to leave is I'm trying to hang out. Like I'm trying to lie in the field. And I'm at Earth Dance again. There's a bunch of kids here right now because there's a big event and there's a lot of families. So like I was just lying on the trampoline and then like a 3-year-old girl just like climbed onto the trampoline. And 3-year-olds rock. Like they have no self-consciousness, no self-conscious feelings and like no social anxiety. So they just do whatever they want. So they just pull up on the trampoline and they just like look at you and you like make faces at them and like they do whatever they want. So maybe they make faces at you, maybe they don't. And you get to see like how much wonder they have and you get to see how they're like experiencing everything as a dream. And like sometimes they like interacting with you and so you get to just like make faces back and forth. I was like, that's what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm here for. And that's what I thought I was signing up for at summer camp. And then I got there and I'm like, oh, I didn't sign up for that. I signed up for 9 a.m. breakfast, 10 a.m. tennis, 11 a.m. archery, 12 p.m. go to the waterfront and swim, lunch, rest hour, play gaga, play dodgeball. And I'm like, oh my God. And like, if I got I normally get 10 and a half hours sleep because I'm an insane person. If I got the most sleep possible there, it would be like 7.5 hours. Like I would go to bed at midnight and wake up at like 7:30. I can't do that. So I have some lower back pain, so my lower back was going crazy. Blah, blah, blah. I was all itchy, blah, 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 blah. I was so fucking stressed. I was so overwhelmed. And every other day or more, I'd be freaking out or like couldn't sleep. And I would call one of my friends and I would cry like a 4-year-old out of overwhelm. And I'd be like, okay, we're so back. Like I'm feeling better. Like I can do this. And I trusted that feeling and that felt really real. But there was enough friction and misalignment that it would come back in 12 hours and then it would come back in 3 hours. And then I literally cried to the executive director and was like, I don't think I can do this. And at the end of the conversation, I was like, okay, I think I can do this. And I woke up the next morning and I felt itchy and I was like, I can't fucking do this. And that leaving was honestly one of the hardest decisions I've ever made. It was so incongruent with my ego, with my identity. It, and here I'm going to bring in, there's a new podcast with Dr. K, the healthy gamer guy, and Joe Hudson and the Charisma on Command guy. It's so good. One thing that Dr. K says in that that's really interesting and I really resonate with is he talks about how on the Indian subcontinent, there's a caste system. I don't know what fucking year, whenever there was. And there's spiritual teachers at the top. And then the second highest were kings. And all the kings, such as the Buddha, were the people who got enlightened. And like none of the spiritual teachers are like the famous enlightened people. And so he's like, what's going on with that? And the way he explained it is those people get all the riches and power and see that that doesn't work. So like, you know, we've all heard that money's not going to make you happy, but what is it to actually get the thing you think is going to make you happy and then be like, oh my God, I know at the deepest level, I know in my bones that that's not going to work. So banger. And I really resonated with that because, you know, going to the summer camp wasn't me getting all the money, but what it was like on paper for my identity in my head, getting all of the things I thought I wanted, like community and working with kids in an emotionally intelligent way in a meta-modern community, meta-modern, blah, blah, blah. With like really cool with really cool, mature, emotionally intelligent people where we're super playful and imaginative and creative and having fun. Like before this week, it's like the most hairy thing I could imagine. And even the way that people market there and even the way that people talk there, I'm like, this is so hairy. And so, right, that's like a pretty wholesome, like, success vision, identity success vision. But it was still like my identity success vision. And I got it. And I was like, oh, this is not it for me. Like, this is not the thing for me. And so, in the same way that, like, if you built your whole business and you're like, wow, I'm miserable. It was like, wow, I got all the things I thought I wanted. And I can't do this. Like, I cannot do this. It will hurt way too much to do it. Just like be that tired and feel that misaligned, blah, blah, blah. I actually can't do it. And so there's also the pain of like going back on my commitment. And like going back on my commitment, like I already had my co-counselor and I fucking love him. Like he's so, he's like possibly the most mature 18-year-old I've ever met. And he's so fucking funny and he's so unfiltered. I like he's honestly inspiring to me and I love him. And when I told him I was leaving, like I could not believe how kind and compassionate he was to me. Like I love that man. And like I left him and like all of the kids I could have given a great experience of at camp. So to leave all of that, but I mean at the deepest level, it's leaving that identity behind of like I know what Harry wants and needs and I know what Harry's dream is. And so leaving that camp is like letting all of that crumble. And so then so I cried so much. I cried so much. That's like almost the most I've cried in my life. And, there's a lot of stress, a lot of overwhelm. Coming back to the other side of that, there's so much I could say, but coming back to the other side of that, the transformation is normally when I feel good and I have extra energy, where I go, I start to get kind of manic and my mind starts planning and managing my energy to shape things like that summer camp, to shape the hairy vision of the future, and I'm going to get all the things I want. And having that crumble, maybe I could do it, but it at least doesn't happen. So my mind, and this is a really like validating and satisfying part, because I often don't feel like I have a transformation, but like here it's pretty clear. Like I'm starting to feel good and regulated again. And then my mind's like, okay, like, what am I doing in 2 months? Like, what's the next job? Like, what are me and Samek going to do? How am I going to make money? How am I going to get a girlfriend? How am I going to set up reality to be perfect for me and my vision? And now when my mind kicks to do that, and it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't happen. There's such a presence that it doesn't even make sense. And it's like, I could go to like tomorrow. It just doesn't make sense anymore. And it just doesn't really happen anymore. And that's really cool. And then this is the last part of the initial story. My sense of self, especially yesterday and leaving, I mean, leaving was such a surreal experience. Like, I could not believe that I was leaving. And even that morning, I had to call my friend and cry so much. And I was like so torn up. Like, I could not, like, I was literally talking to my friend. And I was like, every part of me knows I want to leave. And I still cannot imagine leaving. And even leaving just felt like, what is happening? This is crazy. This is so incongruent. There's so much cognitive dissonance with my identity. And so that's still been happening, but now I'm like kind of on the positive end of it. But there's just a very surreal experience of my sense of self. It's like, I don't know as much what I'm going to say. I don't know as much what I'm going to do. I don't know as much who I am. I don't know as much. And someone even said to me, like, Harry's on a mission. And I think for the average person, I'm pretty obviously pretty fucking committed to my path. And that's still clearly fucking true. And maybe that's even more obviously true the way I'm speaking right now. But intellectually, what what is my path? I don't have a fucking answer. But like somatically, am I on my path? Yeah, I'm fucking on my path. Like there's not a fucking question about it. But like what's the path look like in a week? I don't fucking know. Um, Actually, I do know it's visiting my crush. Haha. Um,
Bang.
yeah. And that's the fucking vibe.
Bang. When you shared all of that, I'm like surprised how much I could completely relate to a lot of it,
Mm,
just leaving my job.
mm,
Cause like the way that I structured my life was like, I'm gonna make a lot of money, retire early, and then do all the shit that I want to do.
Yeah.
And I like put in a lot of effort to get to a place where I could do that very easily. Like when I started meditating, when I started AOA work, even I was still at a job that paid me like $300,000 a year as a 22-year-old, which is fucking insane. And like I was like I loved my team, like the team I was working in. It was programming. I could do it. I could enjoy doing it. I could enjoy doing it. I was doing a weekly gratitude practice with my team. I was like, I really liked my manager. Everyone loved me. Like when I left, everyone was like, "Oh, we're gonna miss you, Samek." Everyone, like every
Yeah.
single person
Yeah,
said
no,
me that.
and I just want to say like, yes, another thing that made it so hard to leave that's coming up for me is like every single like so many people only in a week were like, Harry, you're fucking inspiring. Like, I'm so glad I met you. Blah, 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 blah. Like, so much love and so much love. And I know you've told me that this is true for you too, from at least most people. Like, so many people were like, man, like, you got to do what you got to do. Like, I totally understand. Like, you don't have to justify it to me. Like, people were so fucking kind, like so deeply kind to me about me leaving.
Same. My mentor was so proud of me that I quit my job when I was
Uh,
like, like what is it? Like on a pretty good track to be a senior software engineer at Meta at 23 years old. I was like set to basically be a multi-millionaire by 25. I'm like everything's set, and I'm like, ah, fuck, I like have to leave. Like this fucking sucks. And I told my manager,
yeah,
and I cried. I cried with my manager for so long because it hurt, and it still hurts now because I don't think I fully felt like I didn't have the emotional fluidity back then when I quit, and it's like
yeah,
so much grief because like this is like the entire life plan. It's like, oh yeah, this is gonna set
yeah,
me up. This is how I'm gonna save myself. But
yeah.
everything
This is how
about
I'm
it,
gonna save myself. I think that's basically the
that was like
essence
the
of
main
it.
thing. It was like, this is how I'm gonna save myself. And like all my friends were like tech bros who were like, wow, that was a thunderstorm. All my friends were tech bros, and all my friends like were basically millionaires. A lot of them were depressed, but like a lot of them were also really cool and like would go party and stuff. And I really didn't enjoy hanging out with them. But like they were also like really cool people, and they all loved me. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, Samek, that guy's so woke," and then like he's so cool, and everyone would just tell me that like Samek is so woke and awesome, and like I would just like I would have a blast talking to anyone at my company and my team and anyone around me, and I was so like I like would keep telling my parents that I'm gonna quit to start a business and like start a coach. I
Uh,
don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I have no idea what the fuck I
yeah,
was gonna do when I quit. I had no idea, but I knew that I had. It was like I knew I wanted to quit, and it hurt so much to do it because everything, like I'm quitting a job that I loved with people that I loved with projects that were enjoyable. That just wasn't in alignment. It was like I was living a life that was so had so much love and worked out, but it wasn't my life. And just because it wasn't my
yeah.
life, it hurt
Oh,
so much.
bang.
It just hurt so much to be in the life that wasn't mine. And then that
I
also
love.
like disintegrates that part. Like it's like money is not gonna save me. And for me, like that feels so true because when I made the decision, like internally to quit my job, it was at 1 a.m. And the moment I said, "Oh, I want to quit my job," the moment I said that phrase, my whole body went into terror because the
Mm,
second thought was like, I like well like I think I would rather be homeless than be at my job. It was like the second thought, which is
yeah,
like it wasn't true. It's like bullshit thought, but like that's the second thought that came up, and then it just sent like this like wave of dissonance of like, what the fuck is my identity? This like what like identity dissonance in my system that was like
yeah,
tearing through me because I just didn't want to be there, and it felt so like and I couldn't sleep the whole night. That the night I decided I wanted to quit my job, that whole night I couldn't sleep. I was just in terror, and I just like shook it off. I was shaking it off all night. I was crying, and the next day I like told a couple of people, like told my mentor, and then we talked about it, and like it just like kept unfolding, and then I left my job.
yeah.
But like that was so fucking hard. And then it's just like, oh, money can't save me. Like any like life can't fucking like building a life that I think is perfect can't save me. And that shit like
Yeah.
I still
Yeah.
have heartbreak around that because it I don't know. If that can't save me, then what do I do? I'm just like, oh, I just live my life. What?
Dude, I love this, and I want to say for the listeners, like, if you want more of this shit, I really highly recommend the Dr. K and Joe Hudson Charisma on Command podcast that came out yesterday, because they also talk with, the Charisma on Command guy, builds huge YouTube channel, like, gets the girl, gets ripped, learns multiple languages, learns guitar, and like that falling apart. Can you still hear me fine with the rain?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, so there's that. And then also, like me and you are so into this shit. Um, and sometimes I interact with people, most notably, essentially everyone I interact with, who are less into this shit than me. Um, and sometimes people are like, Harry, you're like really courageous and committed to your path. And there's definitely a sense in which that's true. There's also a sense in which, bro, I'm not doing anything fucking else. There's not a fucking chance.
Yes.
But the way that makes it easy for me to feel the courage is when I think about my friend, when I think about one of my high school friends who's a software engineer, if he was like, Harry, like, how do I get to your level of freedom of of seeing life as an open world video game, of being open to taking any path, of not being terrified of the boogeyman, of like not being afraid I'm gonna fall out of the universe. And I'm like, dude, like, do you really want to do this? Like, it's not fucking easy, and it's dangerous, and it's hard, and it's gonna hurt, and you have to feel at least most of the shit you've been avoiding feeling literally your entire life. And you have to feel most of the shit that literally our entire society is set up for you to not feel so that you don't have to feel it. Like, do you really want, and it's going to take literally at least years.
It's gonna take years. It's gonna take
Do you,
years.
do you really want, and you're probably going to get depressed for a significant period of time. You're probably going to hate yourself. Your sense of self is going to fundamentally change. You're probably going to not want to be in anymore, like, I don't know, at least 25% of your relationships and friendships because, like, you'll see how misaligned they are. You might want to quit your job, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, here, me going through that, because this is the biggest one I've gone through. This is the biggest, like, identity shift, letting go of a dream I've gone through. And I hear how big that was for you too. And I'm like, this process of becoming more free is just that over and over and over again. And the difficulty in my experience that goes up is it makes less and less sense. And there's like less and less of me or like of control in it. Like, the first iteration is like, oh, I don't want to go home for Thanksgiving. And like, that's really scary for me to not want to go, for me to choose to not go, but like, I'm not going to go. But this iteration is like I told you the reasons now why I didn't want to be at summer camp. I didn't know why I didn't want to be there when I didn't want to be there. Like I could not explain it.
I couldn't explain
Um,
why I wanted to quit my job for
yeah,
like
yeah,
months. And I quit and I still couldn't explain it for months.
no. And so in my experience and what I would guess is that like, right, the deeper I trust myself, the more I can trust things that don't make rational sense, intellectual sense, the more I can trust parts of myself that are going to be scary for me to trust because we're in a society and I'm a person who it's easy for me to trust like rational or intellectual things, blah, blah, blah. But most of me is not rational. The point I was making is basically that as I break through more and more layers of freedom in my life, the things I trust are bigger, scarier emotions, but especially they make less sense. And that's the part I find very vulnerable, trusting parts of myself that I don't even understand intellectually.
Bang.
Hell yeah. Anything else on that one?
There's like the talking about the Dr. K and healthy. What is it, Joe Hudson, and in the Charisma on Command. I remember him like talking about that part where there's a difference between truth and credibility.
Yeah.
And that hits so hard.
Yeah.
Where like the truth sometimes makes no sense, but the truth is the truth, and the people who get it. And it's like people who get it like really get it, but like sometimes the truth just doesn't make sense. And the truth isn't the life path that like your parents told you about. And the truth is not the money that you think will save you, or the truth isn't that like heaven that you create in your head. And that's like hard to understand, and anything but the truth really is dysregulating in a very subtle level, but like it gets less and less subtle the more sensitive you become to your own truth.
Yeah.
And it's like you're on this conveyor belt just like pulling you forward in life. And it's what the fuck? And like what the fuck? Like that's like the only thing I can say is like what the fuck? And it's such a gift. It's such a fucking gift. Cuz if you don't know your like yeses or nos, like the things I get to experience have been such a gift. And we keep talking about this every episode, but like there's the last time we're going to be recording this podcast. There's the last time I'm going to be talking to Harry. There's the last time I'm going to be talking with like any of you, or talking to the friends that I have, or my parents. And when I really don't know what the next step is going to be, like that comes to the forefront. Like death comes to the forefront. Death becomes so intimate, and it becomes this loving embrace of gratitude.
Yeah.
A loving embrace of gratitude in every fucking moment.
Yeah.
And like a lot of the times I've had so many opportunities. I have never seen Harry in person. Like that's fucking crazy. And I've wanted to so bad. I've wanted to see Harry in person multiple times. And it was like I wanted to see Harry. My body was like no, and my head was fighting, cuz it's like Harry's at Earth Dance doing these awesome things, and he tells me about it. And I really want to say yes to that. But saying no feels like the true thing, and I just cry because I get like more and more dysregulated the more I keep like lying to myself and saying yes, now is the time I get to see Harry. And then I just like I have to like it breaks my heart. Like my nose break my heart, because like the identity that's holding the yes, that like the yes is gonna save me and it's gonna make me happy, like that has to die. And like that opportunity, that like life that I thought of has to die. And then for the no to come out, and that's the truth. And then every time the no comes out, like I trust it more because it feels so much better than saying yes to a lie. And I don't know, just like lying just becomes really, really difficult.
Yeah.
That's like lying is just really fucking hard because it just like fucks you. Like it fucks me so fucking hard when I lie. Not like the small lies, like not like it's like lying as in like doing things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like going up with someone in a way that you don't want.
Yeah. I would say not being authentic.
Not being authentic just fucks me so.
Your mic got a little bit weird.
Is it better?
I think so.
Maybe it's further away.
All right. Well, we're already at 53 minutes. I'm like, maybe we want to do a little speed round. Like, I have something I could say in like 2 minutes. I wonder if you have something you could say real quick.
Yeah.
Who do you want to go first?
You can go.
Okay. I just, I baited you into this podcast telling you about my crush, so I gotta follow it up. I'm feeling really good. One, right? Everything we just talked about, I can't like idolize the perfect vision of the future that's gonna save me. I'm just like more in the present moment. And it's like, what comes up? I was like, oh, I'm at Earth Dance and it rocks. I'm like, oh, I telling my crush that I have a crush on them and that rocks. So it's like already I'm experiencing like great opportunities from just being in the present. So that's one part of it. Also, I guess I'm just proud. Um, like I've been friends with this person for a while. I had a crush on them for a little bit. I'm proud of how like naturally I'm letting this unfold because I've had so much shit about like I need to try at romance and sexuality and I need to perform and I need to win love and I need to win women. And so with this person, I feel like I'm so much myself and I can be like so impartial. And I've also like I have won women and I have like gotten them to like me and I have like gotten them to stay and it sucks. And so just like with that knowledge and experience, I feel so capable with this person to like be myself and be impartial and not try to convince them of anything and to like not try to win at it and not try to like be more developed or mature than I am. Yeah, I'm not like trying to win at it. I'm just like, oh, I have a crush on you. And they're like, oh, I got to process that. I'm not sure how I feel about you, but I might have a crush on you. I'm like, cool. And before it'd be like, oh, should I ask them on a date? Like, should blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, I'm just going to do what I want to do and we'll see what happens. And that feels so fucking good. Yeah, and I also notice, right now I notice, normally I'd be a lot more attached to winning this person, you know, like, we have to have sex or they have to be my girlfriend, blah, 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 whatever. And now I'm just like, this already fucking rocks. Because I'm just like being myself and expressing my attraction. And they're like receiving that. And yeah, it just like already rocks. So that's cool.
Bang.
Bang.
I'll share something vulnerable.
Let's hear it.
I was talking to my best friend from middle school like yesterday. And then he was sharing how he like drunk texted his ex and she responded really meanly, like rudely to it. And then the moment he read that response was the moment he started grieving that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And he grieved
Yeah.
And then he grieved it for 6 months and he's like, I'm so glad I drunk texted my ex.
Yes.
I would not change anything about it.
Yes.
And then I started crashing out about this girl I liked in college immediately afterwards. And I just wrote like everything I never said. And like half of it was just I love you and then you did this and it hurt and I love you and I love that we did this and I love you and this hurt and I love you and this hurt and I love you. It was like no blame. It was just like this happened, this is what I felt and everything I didn't say. And she just like replied like, I'm genuinely sorry I couldn't see you and I'm glad for the moments we had, like the good.
Wait, you
like,
sent that to her?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I just sent it. I'm like, fuck it, this is over. And she replied with like 2 sentences, and I was like, I've never felt this seen by this person in like 4 years. And I don't want to date this person. I still love this person. I don't want to be friends with this person. But I was like, wow, I just have to like just be vulnerable, be myself, and I'm winning. Like I don't need anything else. I'm winning.
I love the Joe Hudson one. He's like, some people think in a conversation like you're being vulnerable so that the other person is vulnerable. But like if you're vulnerable and the other person isn't, like you won. Like 1-0, you win. Yeah.
She didn't share anything. She like I don't think she just said sorry and like I'm also glad. I'm like great. I feel seen and I'm done. This feels so complete.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, this feels so complete.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to share on that, there's my most recent ex. I got back together with her like 3 times. And every time I was doing this, I was like, I know I'm doing this out of trauma and conditioning and that this is like super unhealthy. And I can see that part of me still wants to do it. So in the same way that like I might want to get like the money or the hot girl or whatever to like let my system feel that it's not what I actually want, I like let myself get back together with my ex and let it be awful and just like kept doing that until it got to the point where I was like, okay, actually I let myself hit rock bottom
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm gonna block you on everything and never talk to you again. Um, and then there's another one of my exes who was like, I would say we were still in like a mutually abusive relationship the way we texted and called each other, even though it was like only once every 2 months. And then eventually, like, I called or texted her, and she was like, I don't want to interact with you anymore. And I was like, oh wow, I haven't let go of this relationship yet. Like, I'm so mad right now. Yeah.
Bang.
Bang.
Relationships.
Relationships. Any final things, sir?
I'm so glad that we can just like, because I feel like the women thing, it's like women will save me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's still like a process in my system that like I know is not true at all, but I'm like, oh cool, you're still running. You're still running, but like you talking about it, where it's like, oh yeah, you can just like be yourself, and then that feels like winning, and then like you can still acknowledge the process is running, but like you don't have to take actions for it. I feel like that's like another way for the identity to crumble, where it's just like you listen to the higher self and you just keep going, or I can just keep going with the higher self and the actions that feel aligned. And I feel like that identity of that one, it's like, oh, women will save me, will naturally crumble over time.
I would expect so.
It's an assumption. I have no idea. Maybe I'll be fucked.
Maybe a woman will save you.
Maybe a woman will save me, dude. Maybe a woman will save me, and then I'll hit a rock bottom, and then I'll stop believing that too.
Nah, maybe she'll just save you forever. Like, it'll just actually work.
Maybe.
Maybe you just haven't found the perfect woman yet.
You gotta go look for perfection.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. If you guys know any perfect women, hit
me up.
Hit this guy up.
Hit me up.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate. Okay. Any final things?
Nope. That was banging.
Bang. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the 17th Attunement Podcast. Oh, my God. They're so consistent. And the Attunement Residency, if you want to work with me and Samek and our homies, September 8th through 14th, we're going to be doing 3 or 4 hours of relational meditation a day. That's what I think is the dream. Maybe I'll be wrong. We'll find out. Five of 6 slots technically taken. First come, first serve. That's all I'm saying. All right, Samek, take us out.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Oh my God, this was so fun. Oh my God. I'm in my head right now. We'll continue doing this for as long as we enjoy it.
That is our promise to you. HarryandSamek.com. HarryandSamek.com for the Attunement Residency. HarryandSamek.com. That's our promise to you. Thanks for listening. See you all later. I hope that you feel pleasure and warmth this hour.